Well, today we are working on our Samsung dryer again. A few years back we changed out the idler pulley assembly, and it still runs, but it quit heating. So we've got a new heating element for it, and we're going to see about changing that today. Now it's really easy to open this up on top. It has these little clips, one on each side, and pop those loose. You just need a tool. You slip in right here, just bump it into your hand and then pop that loose on either side, and the lid will lift right up. And what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to prop that up. And then you've got screws to take out, some on the front, and then the front should come right off. And the heating element is down below the drum down here, and we can either lift the drum out. I'm hoping I can reach in there without having to move that drum. I don't have a lot of room to operate. Hoping I can reach in here and get that heating element out. We'll see. So next thing I'm going to do is take the front off of this, and of course when you take it out you got wires, and I don't see the plug for this one, so I'm hoping I can unhook those wires easily. So anyway, back to work, and we'll see if I can get that loose. Okay, well, here we're back at the Samsung dryer, and if you've looked up other videos on changing this heating element, they have you lift the drum out, and I wanted to avoid that. I don't have much room here and no help, so I got the front off, and here's the heating element is in this thing, and it wouldn't slide right out, but it has this stand. This holds up the front end of it, and two screws go in that plate holding it down. The back side has these tabs that go into matching holes in the floor. That was hard to work out. I had to kind of jiggle it out with a screwdriver. Got it out, and now I think we can bring the heating element out. Let's see how far this will go. I think it will come out of there now. Let's see, I got to get that plug out of the way. That wire is in the way. Let me set this down. Yeah, if I get this out, let's see. Back in there, put my light back up. There we go. There, I get this out. Take that apart. Shove that up there. Now, this ought to slide right on out. Yes, and it does. Okay, that comes out. Now, you've got your wiring here. This red wire goes on the bottom of your heating element, and this blue one goes to the back end. It goes up on top. Blues are on top, and if I pull this red one off, let's see, pull that off, and that blue one back there, I'll be able to pull this right out, and then we can change it. So that's going to save me lifting the darn drum out. Okay, now we've got the heating element out of this. This thing slid right out after I took that base out, and your difficulty here is going to be getting these little plugs pulled out of this ceramic socket. They've got tabs sticking out there. You've got to straighten those tabs so it'll slide through. And then just kind of tease it through. I pushed it through with a set of pliers, and there we go. There's the break. There's where the heating element parted. So anyway, we'll slip the new heating element in, and it's got limit switches here on the side. You've got I think they gave 3 or 4 different limit switches. I'm gonna change those out, so I got new limit switches, as long as I've got it apart this far. And you see that it had 4 screws on this side. Took those out. These limit switches hold it together, so I'll get these get it back together and then change my limit switches, and then go back together with it. And before you pull it out, get your little sweeper and get in there. Man, that thing it had hair and dust and lint in there. We got that out, so not too bad. There were like, what, 5 or 6 screws to take the front off, and the bottom of the front hooks on those. Just kind of pull it out a little bit, lift up. Wires on top, I just left them hooked up and slid this thing off to the side. It stands there just fine. And I'm really limited on my space. I'm backed up against the wall here working on this thing. And this made it much easier than lifting the drum out. So anyway, I'm going to just reverse what I've done, put things back together, and put our new element in. There you see the new one compared to the old one. And something to note, these are your plugs that go through that porcelain fixture on the side of the housing. And notice those 2 little tabs. See, there's 2 little tabs. After you push that through, you bend those little tabs so this will stay in place. And that's the most, getting this thing out that's the most difficult part, getting those straightened up so you can get it apart. So wasn't too bad. Got it apart, and when you put her back together, you bend those tabs so it stays together. Okay, we have our assembly all back together here. We're ready to slip it back in there. This top edge has a little hook on it there, so you put it in there with the front of this raise so that will slip in. And we're going to slide that back, and after we get it back, then I'll put this little stand in, and where those feet go in, I opened those, let's see if I can get that. I opened those up just a bit with a screwdriver, because boy, they were hard to get out. I don't want to have to wrestle them back in pushing on this. I don't want to get cut on the sheet metal. So anyway, that should slip back together, and I can't hold the camera while I do this, so I'm going to slide that in and then put the front support in and then screw that down. And okay, so I've got to turn the camera off while I do all that. Okay, we've got this thing back together. I'm going to see if I can. The hardest part of getting this thing back in was getting the back end of that heating unit stabbed, because you're operating blind. But I got it in there. You can see it back there. Take this light out, and you can see the heating element in there. And we've got our wires hooked up. Everything in there is back together. Got that stanchion back in place. Got her back together and screwed up. Got my wire here back together, ready to put the front and top back on. So I'm going to do that next. Put the front on and close the top, and then we should be ready to plug in and run. But there we are, new heating element installed without lifting the drum out.